Hello, everybody, and welcome to our brand new Wild Eye offices. I'm sure what you see behind us is going to be something quite common for a lot of the guys in the office, particularly when we're recording things like Wild Eye diaries and the likes. And so get familiar with our brand new chameleon in amongst its natural foliage behind us. It's pretty cool. Anyway, Trevor and I have promised over the last couple of weeks to get a video together about our time spent in the Masai Mara for our Wildlife Photo Academy that we ran for the men and women rangers of the Mara Conservancy. And so we've been out of office for the last 2 or 3 weeks actually, and so we haven't actually been together long enough for us to put a video together, but thankfully we've got the next 2 weeks in office, and so we've had some time to set aside for this particular video. So here it goes. Welcome, Trev. Thanks for joining.
No worries, thank you, Al. So what we've done is we've pretty much, like Al said, we've just put a short highlights package together just to give you all an idea of what the course was about and what we got up to in the week that we were in the Mara.
Awesome. So for those of you that did follow us, you would have seen that it was a pretty amazing experience, both for myself and Trev, as well as for all the rangers. It was both our first time in the Masai Mara, and we couldn't have thought of a better way to experience our first Masai Mara experience than to be teaching the rangers of the Conservancy. It really was possibly the best experience we could have had from a first-time perspective in the Mara, which was great.
And I think, all parties benefit. So Olympus South Africa got on board with us. They donated 6 cameras and lenses to give to the men and women of the Mara Conservancy. That's pretty much what kicked it off, and we were just allowed the opportunity to head up there and to take these individuals through a step-by-step process of how to learn the camera, a little bit more detail about wildlife photography and how to use the cameras out in the field. So really, really special. And with that said, let's take a look at the highlights.
Cool.
So we ran 2 courses over 3.5 days each. Each individual on the course had their own camera, our digital photography manual that would help them learn over time. After the course had gone, they can go read through themselves, and a camera bag, a wild eye cap, and a cheat sheet just to help them along the way.
Exactly. So as Trev said, 2 separate groups. For 2 main reasons, really. One, because we obviously couldn't have all the rangers from the Conservancy out of their daily duties at one point in time. We had to keep it to smaller groups so that the Conservancy still ran well enough in the background. And 2, because from a teaching perspective, it just made sense to have a smaller group for us to deal with. And of course, as Trev mentioned, Olympus donated 6 cameras. So we were limited to 6 people at a time. But that helped in terms of vehicles and allocations and facilitators and just general group size management, which was really cool. So basically what we did is that we took our digital photography 101 course that we run in the office on a full day, normally run on a Saturday by one of the guys in the office, and we expanded on that over a course of 3 days. So what we had was the opportunity to really extract some of the main portions from that DP course that we thought would be most relevant to this group. And that involved, as you can see over here, taking lenses and cameras out for the first time, showing them how to attach them to the bodies, what different wide angles versus telephoto zoom lenses meant, aperture values, etc., etc. So we started with the basics, turning the camera on, getting familiar with the functions of the camera, how to change the different settings, and just basically getting comfortable with the actual use of the camera. And then, as you can see, we started to dive into some of the more detailed elements of the course, things such as rule of thirds, visual mass, the compositional and artistic elements of photography was kind of broken down as the first section of the course. And then the second section of the course was then the technical aspects, going through the exposure triangle and the relationship between ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. And every single day, no matter or regardless of which section we were doing, it involved in-camp tuition, as well as 2 game drives in which to kind of put that theory into practice out in the field.
Yeah, so as you can see, we had the luxury of using our Wild Eye media tent to conduct the theoretical parts of the course. And then we used the surrounding areas around camp just to put some of those to test, practice the skills before we had, if you can call it, real life situations out in the field.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a very interactive experience. It wasn't necessarily us just standing up and lecturing all the time. Of course, it's important for us to get that knowledge across. And the best way to do it was through demonstration, through PowerPoint, and then through, as Trevor said, in-camp practicals. But it really was an open experience, and we really encouraged the rangers to ask questions, to stop us at any point if they didn't understand anything, which is very similar to the way we run our DP courses. But essentially, we wanted to be as interactive as possible. We didn't want to get up there and lecture for 3 days and leave the Masa Mara and the rangers didn't benefit enough from the experience that we put together. So although there was certainly an element to teaching, between myself and Trev, we tried to keep it as light-hearted, as energetic, and as fun as possible, and to limit the amount of time we really spent just doing lectures. It is important to cover the course material, obviously, but we really got out and did a lot of stuff around the camp.
And I think what really stood out to me, it's a very rewarding thing to do. Spending time with each individual, they play a massive role in the conservation of the Mara, apart from the photography side, but spending time with each individual, they were all at different levels in terms of their photographic knowledge, and just being able to give them a little bit more information and help them. It's a rewarding feeling to see that each individual, their progress over not just the coming days, but the coming hours, and to see the confidence that each individual had as the course went on was extremely rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. So just touching on the section that we're covering with at the moment in this video. So the benefit of having these brand new kind of Olympus mirrorless cameras and the technology was that we could use the Wi-Fi, the built-in Wi-Fi in these cameras to then use or download images directly from the camera to your phone. And as we can see here, one of the other applications that we downloaded was Lightroom Mobile. And we went around, and after every game drive session that we had, we can see there that they've made good use of the rule of thirds there, Trev. Great,
yeah, absolutely.
Great example. So we basically take images out in the field after the lectures that we'd had in the morning, and then we'd come back and download the images from the cameras to the students' phones, and from there into Lightroom Mobile, where we did a bunch of editing. Trev did a really nice section on how to do social media controlling, how to post, when to post, what hashtags to use, what pages to include, etc. And we facilitated that whole process. So basically, from an end-to-end process, we taught people how to take images, take better control over their digital cameras, and then through the use of certain wildlife photography principles, then go and edit those images to the best of their ability to enhance what we've captured out in the field, and then to post those online, tagging the relevant pages.
Yeah, and coming to the drive side of things, very similar to how we run our Mara weeks. Alistair and I would, every second drive, we would switch vehicles.
Yeah.
And this is great just because it allows the individuals to learn something different from both of us. And I think that was hugely beneficial to them.
Yeah.
The beauty of photography is we all have a different way of seeing it, a different way of thinking, and a different eye. So being able to bounce ideas off of us, I think was great for each of them out in the field.
Exactly. So it was just made sense for the students to remain in the vehicles in which they started, and for myself and Trev to bounce around. And we'd always park together, as you can see here, and consolidate on what the morning or the afternoon plan was going to be. I think Trev's pointing out where
I was just waving.
Yeah, I was going to say pointing out where the lines were, but waving sounds more accurate. We kind of got together, discussed the plan. As you can see, the Mara is just absolutely beautiful. Sunrise one morning. We went too far from camp at this particular stage, heading out looking for lions. And I think, if I can remember correctly, we found one not too far from here, if I'm not mistaken, which was pretty cool. There's some buffalo. So basically, we get to make sure, as we would with any wild eye guest, ensure that everyone's in the right position in the vehicle to get the shots. Nailed it there, as you can see. Make sure that the students were always in the right positions, and we were in the best position to help them coach.
I think also, similar to our Mara trips, having 3 individuals in the vehicle and then ourselves, nice and spacious for us to maneuver and just give them as much tuition as possible. But I must say, I was extremely impressed with how quickly they managed to put the theoretical work to practical use and get some pretty incredible shots out there.
Yeah, it has been great. And one of the biggest outcomes of this whole thing was that we got a WhatsApp group together, and this was at a hyena den. This is quite cool. I remember that. Yeah. But we had a WhatsApp group that we put together where a lot of the students and the rangers, through their daily work out in the Masa Mara, have then started to share images with us. And as you know, going back to the point of you saying it was such a rewarding experience, we've now got sort of real-time feedback from the rangers out in the field. They're constantly sharing images every single day, which is useful for when we're out in the field ourselves with wild-eye guests in the Mara Conservancy, because we know where sightings are. Obviously, these rangers are out in the field 24/7 in their vehicles, controlling sightings, controlling crossings, etc. And so for them to be able to post things on that group is useful for us when we're looking for sightings with guests out in the field, but also for them as a platform to ask us questions. You know, if they may have forgotten certain photographic principles, or if there's some things that need improvement in some of the images that they've shared, we can really help out and answer a whole bunch of questions. So it's really just an interactive platform between the rangers of the Conservancy and the Wild Eye team. And then just to really reiterate the point about why this is so beneficial to the Conservancy themselves, really because of their conservation efforts. And not only is it cool for them to be able to take better images themselves and to understand more about digital photography, the core focus of this whole exercise is around conservation, community upliftment and sharing, creating awareness about the wilderness area that is the Mara Conservancy, and the beauty and the necessity to conserve and protect the wildlife therein. And the best way for them to do that is to share these images within their local communities. Jerry made an example of one person sharing an image, that image gets shared by 5 people, and then that will get shared by a further 10 people, 20 people, and so it expands one community to the next. And before you know it, you have thousands of people that have seen the same or similar images, all because of one person's sharing. And that is so useful in terms of conservation and upliftment, community upliftment programs.
Sure. Looking at this video as well, it reminds us of how special it was, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really incredible experience.
Quite emotional, actually, saying goodbye to a lot of these rangers. I think this was the first group that was leaving, and I know a lot of the guys actually didn't want to leave. They just wanted to stay on longer and learn more from us. And likewise, we wanted to spend more time with them. But unfortunately, the second group had to arrive, and everyone else had to go back to their normal duties of being conservationists and rangers out in the field.
But I also must say a special thanks to our East Africa team.
Absolutely.
Here's some images around camp, but they did an incredible job hosting us, very friendly, made sure that ourselves and the Mara Conservancy rangers were all looked after.
Absolutely. Couldn't have done it without the East Africa team. And here we see a couple of images just of us. And that's pretty much it. So we finished off with quite a cool evening, if you remember that.
It
was
absolutely.
Kind of awards evening where the entire team was there, Jono, myself, Jerry, and obviously Trev. And we handed out a whole bunch of certificates on an awards evening to both groups to really say congratulations to all the rangers, men and women who participated in the course. Every single one of them had a huge improvement in their photography, some of which had never handled a camera before, and the images that they were producing and continue to produce have been pretty amazing. So that was a special evening, and there are some images that we'll share from that as well, especially around the fire when everyone's all collective, which is fantastic. But all in all, a really successful kind of program that we run with first program, one of many, I hope.
Absolutely.
And either to go and reteach a lot of the people that we have, or to allow other rangers within the Conservancy an opportunity to be exposed to such a program. And so I'm fairly confident that Wild Eye will be seen a lot more in the Mara Conservancy in terms of the work that we've done. Awesome
stuff. Cool.
I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys, and lots more to come.
Absolutely.
Cheers for now.
Cheers.